Alrighty, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing another installment in my best team series in Dokkan for the beginning of November of 2025. Now, the most recent update that we've seen to the game for the installment of this series is the introduction of Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku Mini, as well as AGL Kid Gohan's EZA, and last but not least, the manga characters. Now, with the manga characters in specific, that team is not going to be good enough to be worth going over in this video, but if you guys want to see it, there it is. You're looking at it down below. That's the team. That's the version of the team that you run. There's 6 characters. It's a one-size-fits-all setup, and you guys know how that works at this point. So, with that being said, let me know down below what team you guys run, and with all of that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Starting off in our first spot, we have the Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku Mini team. Now, this is one that can be built a lot of different ways, and we are going to be emphasizing the demonic power as well as the pure Saiyan's leader skill for this team. So looking here on the core 6 that we have, this is what I decided to go with for this specific build in this video. But I think that there are a bunch of different ways that you can run this team, and there are so many good characters that tie into demonic power as well as pure Saiyans that you really can build this team any way that you want. So the way that I have this set up in specific is to take advantage of Daima Goku with Giant Ape Power, specifically with our rotation of Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku. We're just going to call him Super Saiyan 4 Goku for the rest of this video, unless stated otherwise, and then Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then a rotation of the Blue Boys with Super Saiyan 4 Goku as well. I think that this is going to end up being a pretty well-off setup for most players because these characters have been on a lot of recent banners, and with the recent EZA of Kid Gohan, you are going to have access to a lot of different things with support. That is the main sort of tagline with this specific team, is that basically every character on this specific setup here is going to be giving us support. Now, in this specific gameplay on the right side of your screen, I have int Daima Goku because Kid Gohan is not awakened yet on my global account. You got to bear with me here. So that is sort of the way that I wanted to build this specific setup here. But with most setups regarding this team, it is going to have that Kid Gohan for his stacking, for his support. It's just going to end up working out pretty well. Now, with demonic power, as you guys know at this point, there are just so many different characters that are going to be feeding into what makes the setup so good. And that's going to include basically every Gohan character in the game due to his demonic power techniques because of his training with Piccolo. So that is going to make things pretty easy for you. Now, AGL Kid Gohan's going to be a good example. Beast Gohan's going to be a good example of a character. Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan from the BoJack movie. That's going to be another very good unit here. So you just have a ton of really good options with the setup. And with this in specific here, you are going to have access to a lot of Goku's intro buff because you're going to have demonic power, you're going to have all super class, and everything is going to be working out fine for that specific setup. Now, in terms of our floaters, Super Saiyan, or not Super Saiyan, but Glorio, Piccolo, as well as Kid Gohan are going to be filling their designated role of support, and that's really all they're going to be doing on the setup here is just holding it down with the support. You guys know how much support that Gohan's going to be able to give, how quickly he's going to be able to build up, especially on a setup with a Piccolo around because of his ability to greatly stack, right? Greatly stacking is going to be one of the most important traits of that character, and it's going to just make him extremely well-rounded for this specific build. Now, again, it is going to be a little bit unorthodox and a bit different because we aren't using some of the mainstay characters in the game that we've talked about in the past, but I do think that overall this setup is going to work out extremely well for you just due to some of the simple facts here, and one of those is like you're going to be working through that Super Saiyan 4 Goku engine as well as having as much support as you're going to have with that 2-turn support. A lot of characters are going to be looking extremely impressive on this specific setup, and you're going to make Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku look very good. So you guys can see right there, 58 million without an active skill. That is a very good start here with this character. So he's going to be hitting pretty damn hard, especially in an IDBH stage like this. So that is what it is going to look like for the core 6. Now, when it comes to alternatives, like I said, there is just a litany of options that you really can just run this setup really whatever way that you want, and it's probably going to work out pretty well for you. So do keep that in mind. That is going to be a very big appeal to how this team is going to be working. But what I decided to do was go with some very common, a lot of characters that a lot of people have, and that is going to be the Tech Vegito for his taunt. It's always nice to have that. You can protect Goku a little bit more with the taunt. That's going to be very nice for you. Super Super Gogeta for longer form events. Short form events, he's kind of tricky to run, but he could be a decent floater, especially if you tag into Goku, the support that you can have. And then the gods and the fours, you guys know how good they are at this point. Just very consistent characters that are going to hold it down in basically all forms of content. So those are going to be the main alternatives that you can run depending on the setup that you want to run. But keep in mind, with this setup in specific, you are not going to be looking for as many extreme class characters due to the fact that Daimagoku's buff is going to be reliant on things like demonic power and superclass. So with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you have to run the team a specific way, but you will be rewarded when you do have that intro buff and the way that the character operates. I think that Daimagoku here is going to end up working out pretty well for you. So this is the new units team. Again, you could run this either way, pure Saiyans, demonic power. You really can get away with any type of build that you want. And I think that's what makes the team so damn good. It's just all of those different things that you can do specifically with Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, just for him to be as well-rounded as he is. So this is the first team. You guys know that we like to go over the new team first. And again, with the manga team, we are not going to be going over that today because, again, that is not a good team. There's no way to run it. It's either you run all the characters or you don't run it, right? Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I would say, is the exception. You could run them on like Bond Parent and Child or Earth Protecting Heroes. That could also be done, but that is what we are going to be focusing on for this video. Nothing with the manga characters in here, unfortunately. I just don't think they're good enough. So with that being said, let's move on to another team. Okay, so the next featured setup that we are going to be talking about today is going to be the Giant Ape Power setup. Specifically, again, so we can focus a little bit more on Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku Mini, him being the featured character of the video, essentially. I want to make sure that we get in as many reps for him as possible on different team builds. So this is going to be another one where you have a lot of good things to take advantage of what he's bringing to the table. And that is going to be the Giant Ape Power setup with a pure 220% lead coming from a Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku. That is going to lead to a very consistent build for this unit and a ton of support going around. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is one of those characters that can make almost anybody look good, and that is something that we've talked about, especially when they're on that specific support. You are going to be having characters look extremely, like a lot better than they usually look. So we've seen this in instances in the past where it's like, you know, you really are looking out for the Super Saiyan 4 Goku support, and Daima Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Mini is going to be an example of that, aka Ultra Vegeta 1. You guys know how that operated. So with this specific setup, you're going to be able to have a lot of different things going, and one of the main attributes to this team is going to be the support coming in from Super Saiyan 4 Goku and just the offensive prowess that this team has, right? Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is still one of the highest damaging characters in the game, and he's always been good in that asset. So you have to keep that in mind. It's going to be pretty damn good to have that running around as one of your rotations. And then you have the ability and the support of Super Saiyan 4 Goku for characters like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and then the physical Super Saiyan 4s. You're just going to have an extremely consistent setup here with both of your rotations and then some decent floaters. Now, if you want to replace the 4s with Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku in one of the rotations, you can. If you want to rotate and stack Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you can. If you want to put Super Saiyan 4 Goku in slot 2, you can do that as well. So that is going to be the main role of the core 6 here when we are looking at the specific team setup, right? Or the core 7, if you will, right? Obviously, you're going to be running 2 of the Super Saiyan 4 Gokus, right? So do keep that in mind. But again, everything that you are looking for is going to be included in this team's package, if you will, right? Attack support, if you want to go the defensive support route, you could easily put AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta on this setup, and you could run his support. If you want to run a little bit more of a defensive build, you could bring Super Saiyan Grade 8 Vegeta, or GT Vegeta, GT Goku for specific events, or maybe you want to nuke something, you could potentially do that as well. So that is what I really like about this specific team here. I think that you can get away with running a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. And ultimately, that's going to end up being extremely beneficial for the way that you want to set up this specific squad. Now, again, with the Grade A Power team, this is not going to be quite as vast as other teams that we've seen in the past. There have definitely been better setups for sure in terms of this team isn't like at its peak power right now, but I think that the addition of Daimagoku does sort of bring this team back up a little bit in terms of like what we're looking for. So you do have to give them some points for that. I think that the team is in a lot better of a spot than it was just a little bit ago, right? Like it wasn't long ago we were talking about like just the way that this team was operating. It was nowhere near as good as it is right now. Or it's not at its prime, if you will. I'm kind of yapping a little bit, but having that support, having Daimagoku running around, being able to get the intro buff and all of that fun stuff in is going to work out pretty well for you. So I would say that the the Giant Ape Power team is definitely like not at its peak, if you will, but it's still a very, very good team, right? Like there is no doubt about that. And again, the best TUR in the game being added to the team here is certainly not going to be docked against the setup, right? So do keep that in mind. I think Giant Ape Power is going to be holding it down in its spot. It really just kind of comes down to the overall power of like the main selling units of this team, right? Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, very powerful. The LR4 is very powerful. Gogeta 4, very powerful. Another really good TUR being Super Saiyan 4 Goku, very powerful, right? Just a lot of really good damaging units on this specific setup, and that is really what it's going to be. If you're a fan of offense, this is going to be one of the most fun teams in the game, bar none, and I think that you will get quite a bit of enjoyment out of rocking this setup here. So Giant Ape Power, still very good. Now, when it comes to alternatives, you do have to be a little bit careful with this team because of the fact that our boy Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, let's pull up his intro condition. I'll have it up on the side while you guys are watching the gameplay. But with Super Saiyan 4 Goku here, you do have to keep in mind that on the team, we have to have 5 superclass allies on the team or a demonic power category ally on the squad as well. So when this becomes a little bit of an issue is like we have to be careful with running extreme class because we can't run more than one on this specific instance. Otherwise, we will be running out of spaces for his intro buff. So do keep that in mind. That's going to be extremely important for this specific setup. So if you want to take advantage of Super Saiyan 4 Goku to the fullest, I would say that you need to be just a bit careful with how you're going to be running it because, again, that 5-turn guard and the guaranteed additional is going to be pretty valuable for you. So you don't want to just like leave that at the front door and just say like, yeah, we're not going to take advantage of that because guard is an extremely important defensive mechanic in this game, and you don't want to have him without it because you're just running the unit, objectively running them worse. So do keep that in mind that it's going to be pretty important if you want to run Grade 8 Vegeta, but that is also going to be an option, again, from the Super Saiyan 4 Goku support. So when it comes to the rotations, again, Super Saiyan 4 Goku with both of the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas, and then your floating characters are going to be the Super Saiyan 4 Gokus with the Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and that is just basically how this team is going to be rocking. So very nice setup here. I would definitely recommend trying out the Giant Ape Power team, especially if you have all of these characters. It is a good time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so another team here that we can run a lot of different ways is going to be one of the go-to teams for me in terms of when I'm trying to no-item run an event or make something very easy, and that is going to be the Omega Shenron team. Now, the beauty of the Omega Shenron team is just how many separate ways that you can run them due to the leader skill being so vast here for Omega Shenron. Power Absorption, Inhuman Deeds, GT Bosses, this is a very wide array of extreme class characters that is going to allow you to really run the team however you want it, right? It's going to make things extremely easy for you, really in any form of content. The only event that I've really struggled with this team in specific is going to be that Great Ape Giant Team Bardock event. And the main allure of that is the fact that Rainbow Orb changing is just so hard countered in there with Fasha's ability to make the Rainbow Orbs into bombs that do damage to you, obviously. So that is going to make things very, very tricky for us. And overall, you are just going to have to be a little bit more careful when you are playing that specific event. But really everywhere else, I'm feeling very good about the Omega Shenron team. He, especially when the domain is up, is not an issue. Damage is not an issue. Tanking is not an issue. You have so many different ways to tank on this team, and there are going to be so many specific ways that you could run this setup that I can't really fit them on this specific graphic. Maybe in the future, we'll have to add 4 more boxes at the bottom for 8 alternatives, but a lot of teams don't have 8 alternatives on the setups. That's why we only have 4 here. But let me know down below if you guys want more spots for alternatives and stuff like that. We can definitely make it happen. So with the Core 6, this is definitely the most interchangeable Core 6. I sort of was just going for a setup that was really keeping Big Bad Bosses active almost at all times. And if Big Bad Bosses wasn't active, Nova Shenron is going to be more than okay for linking up with Omega Shenron in the form of like how we're trying to run this team. So with the Core 6, obviously you're going to have 2 Omega Shenrons. This is going to be very important. You guys know how good the character is. And then we also have the Int Omega as well. Or not Omega, but the Legion of Shadow Dragons. This is a very good support unit, has very good links with the Omega Shenron. It just ends up working out extremely well. This is one of the best rotations in the game for extreme class units, so you're going to take advantage of that for sure. Now, with another pairing that you could potentially do is Omega Shenron with Tech Sin Shenron, especially early on fights, because of the fact that Tech Sin Shenron just has so much early onset damage reduction with the amount of orbs that they have, and the Rainbow Orb changing that Omega Shenron is doing is going to make the orb count for Tech Sin Shenron not a problem whatsoever, and it's just going to make the team work very well in all facets of the game. So we do want to keep that in mind when we're talking about Sin Shenron, that he is just an extremely valuable unit. Now, for the Rose Goku Black units here, we could either run Rose Goku Black on rotation with Omega and then float the Shadow Dragons if you want, or you could just run them as a floater and let them build their attack passively. There are a lot of different ways that you could run this setup, and I think that's really the beauty of it, right? And then Nova Shenron is just there again for making the Shadow Dragon characters look better, and we're always going to have them on rotations with Shadow Dragon characters if units are not locked due to the setup that we have right here. So do keep that in mind. It ends up working out pretty well for us, and we also have some very good alternatives as well for this specific setup that you could do. Now, if you want to get away from running more of a big bad bosses setup and you kind of want to float a couple different units in there, you could put someone like STR Broly in there. Tech Golden Frieza and Gogeta could work out. Baby can work very well on this team, and you really just have a ton of different options with the way that you want to set this team up, just due to the fact that the leader skill is so fast, right? Int Fat Boo, that's a very good option. AGL Transforming Cell is a very good option on this team. There are a lot of different ways. STR Omega Shenron, AGL LR Golden Frieza, Int Broly, Tech Broly, both of the Tech Brolys, right? There are just so many different good characters on this specific setup that you really can get away with running it just based on the event, right? I think that the meta that we're in right now, there really is not a one-size-fits-all for any of these valuable teams in the game, just because of how diverse that the meta is right now, which is exactly what we want, right? I think the game is at its healthiest when the meta is diverse. The only problem for me is I just don't enjoy the diverse fights that the game has to offer right now. But in a typical world, this is what I want, where different units can show their strengths and stuff like that. And it's not just you run the superhero team for everything like it was last year. So the Omega Shenron team, very good. If you potentially want to change up the setup as well, you could take like Rose Goku Black Super Easy A off the team, put Omega Shenron in that spot. There are just so many different ways that you could run this team that it's very hard to fit all of them on the team here. But this is basically what I thought of for this specific instance. And let me know down below what version of the Omega Shenron team that you guys are running right now. But with that being said, we have one more team to talk about in today's video. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the most consistent team that we've had in this series so far, ever since I took over for doing best teams, this is the one that we were talking about here, and this is going to be the Fused Fighter setup. Now, not really much has changed with how this team is going to be ran. The only thing that I would mention is that LR Golden Frieza and Gogeta would probably make their way into the alternatives or the core section here. So with the core 6, we have STR, we'll say 7, but 6, because we have 2 of the STR Blue Goku and Vegeta units, so just keep that in mind. So the core 6, right? STR Blue Goku and Vegeta, AGL Gogeta 4, the year 7s, as well as the year 10 LRs. These are going to be 6 of the best units in the game. And then we also have very good alternatives here with Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Physical VB, right? Go Tanks, STR, Rose Goku Black and Zamasu. There are just a lot of different ways, again, that you could run this Fused Fighter setup, as well as running a Future Saga build where you can put Trunks and Vegeta on this team if you want to run, say, the Festival of Battles with this specific setup. So again, another team that is very versatile. I think that is one of the main perks to some of the best teams in the game right now, is that if a team is just a one-size-fits-all and there's only 7 units that you're running on the team at all times, if you're missing somebody, you're screwed. I don't think that is like the sign of one of the most consistent and best teams in the game. So that's why I probably wouldn't mention it as much. But with this team here, again, you have a lot of really good options, right? With Fused Fighters in specific, I just think that is one of the most consistent categories in the game that is always getting a ton of buffs, just because fusions are big ticket characters, right? I don't have to go over why fusions at this point are some of the most popular units in the game. Gogeta, I think, at least based on the numbers, is like the most popular unit in Dokkan. So Fused Fighters, we're always constantly getting Gogetas. We've definitely seen that this year. I think you could argue there is definitely a level of Gogeta fatigue from the player base. Not everybody, but some players, right? Especially those of you who are like diehard Vegito guys. I could definitely see there being frustration with just the sheer amount of Gogetas we've gotten this year. But the fact of the matter is he sells Dragon Stones. So I like when Gogeta drops because a lot of people watch YouTube videos. So with that being said, with all these different setups here, it's constantly evolving and getting different buffs. But right now, I've kind of liked how this team has settled in. If you want to throw in some other honorable mention characters here on this specific team, would be AGL Mighty Mask, Super Easy A, Kalen Khalifa's Easy A, STR Mr. Satan. That's also a very good unit, the one that fuses into Goku. And there's just a lot of different options here for this specific setup. So Fused Fighters is still definitely one of the best teams in the game, really just running through an engine here of the Blue Boys. I would say now that we've sort of made the modern content swap, this is a bit of an older graphic because the team is the same. But what I would do specifically is take the STR Blue Goku and Vegeta and move them from the floater spot to where the Super Saiyan 4s and Gogeta are, right? You would probably want to put them in a rotation because they're going to be sitting in slot 1 for almost every fight in the game, considering how hard these bosses hit at this point. So that's going to wrap up this installment of the best teams in the game right now. Some honorable mentions include Goku Black and the Clones, the free-to-play Saiyan Saga team, the free-to-play Ginyu Force team, all of the free-to-play teams that are viable right now. And with the Daima team in specific, there are also going to be some very good free-to-play options for you as well on that specific setup. So let me know down below what you guys think the best team in the game is right now. There's definitely a lot of different ways to be playing the game at the moment, and different teams are going to be focused on different events, but I like this specific setup that we have right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Sorry for the lack of a best teams video. We did not do one for Gohan and Goten. I just didn't think there was enough demand there, and not enough had changed with the way that the game is operating. So that's going to wrap this one up. The Daima Goku team, the Omega Shenron team, the Fused Fighters team, and the Giant Ape Power team are 4 of my favorite teams to run in the game right now. So if you guys did enjoy this one, leave a like down below, leave a comment as well. It helps grow the channel, and subscribe if you guys are new, so that way you don't miss out on any best teams videos in the future, as well as daily Dokkan content. So thank you guys for all watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.